let's make it easy, I think. We change a little bit the plan. So we are about to speak about high ARPU users, and now we can add some agency can help with that kind of acquisition. Let's move to a kind of QA session that would be, I think, easy and better to start with.
Yeah, I think everybody here is interested to see how Sam Agency is doing and optimizing towards high ARPU acquisition. Initially, we had, as Aurelien said, we had a bit
Plan.
of a monologue prepared for you guys, but we'll spare you the the torture. We'll give a brief introduction. Our amazing media buyer and commercial manager Adam will give a brief on how we do the targeting. Then I assume most of you here, looking at your faces, are very interested in how we can implement all of these strategies into your campaigns. Yeah, Adam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you all for being here. At least some people are still interested in improving their marketing, so that's good to see. Yeah, it'll go by a case-per-case basis. I would love to say, yeah, you do this and you have high ARPU users. We all know that's not true. I think the shortest version would be you need to have your data. If you don't know who is your user, you cannot know which one of your user is higher value or a lower value user. So that's the first step. You need to know who you're targeting. You need to know where this person is, where is he located, what device is he using, what kind of content is what attracts them to your service in the first place. And after that, what are they consuming? Is your product premium? Do you have the content to bring such a high value user? So this is not me saying the burden is on our partners, not at all. But the burden is absolutely something which needs to be on both sides is shared. If you tell me, Adam, the users here, we see they have maybe lesser quality, but they stay longer. Well, yeah, that's a mathematical equation. We have some variations. We have some variables, sorry. And based on those variables, you can see what makes most sense. Get a HARP user? Obviously, yes. Is it he was billed the first time and then ciao, never seen again? Is that really a HARP user? Is that someone who you want to target? No. So it's a question of managing both sides of the equation. What are you buying? Once you've bought, are you tracking this person? I can absolutely help you buy the right people because we have our knowledge of the markets that we are already running with friends, with partners, with even competitors. Beyond that, we need your support to tell us, yep, this is helping me, or maybe we should do something else. And that, of course, will be, everyone has their secrets, everybody is strong in some markets, there are reasons for that, because they have the data.
Yeah,
I think that's
a good overview. I would say that everyone here is quite seasoned in VAS. You know the metrics that you are looking for. One of the things that we need to start sort of pushing as an industry is stop looking at CPA and start looking more at the data that you can collect. There's a lot of instances that you are comparing CPA only basis with disregarding completely anything that happens on the post subscription. And this is not the smart way to go about it in our sort of experience. I will give, let's do some sort of an exercise. I will give a country, and then I will ask you some questions, if you guys agree. If we take UAE, for example, can anyone say that, let's say, raise your hand if you prefer iOS over Android? You can raise iOS users versus Android users. So you prefer iOS. And you, I assume, you see that the difference between the ARPU is quite big, right? Saying this, would you be willing to pay more on the bidding side for Google or any traffic source to acquire more iOS users versus Android users, right? That said, this is the optimization and this is the type of high ARPU cracking that we are bringing to the table. That is alongside the device types, the device versions, the language even. Especially in a country like UAE, you also have to sort of
Yes.
know the population.
Diaspora.
Yeah, the diaspora of the country, the population, the circumstances of the macro population, which is nice in the UAE because it's very different. So you can see the Arabic speakers versus the non-Arabic speakers, the old devices versus the new devices, and you can use all of this as touch points to target on Google. So every time we start talking about touch points, it goes to your data collection and your data analytical capabilities. And I think this is a good point for you to announce the new sort of initiative that we're taking with our clients, where we ask if they are willing to share all the notifications, billing data, so we can optimize towards that.
Yeah, sure. But how do you address this concern about some clients that could be a bit reluctant to share those data? So I'm interested also to know how you sell that kind of things to the clients that could be hesitant to share those kind of data.
For our side, obviously, everyone knows that we are coming from Sam Media. We know all of the data protection laws. We have every data protection policy that has to do with the user data, with the MSI's and security in place. As well as, we don't ask you to give us the data. Give us
Exactly.
a database that is hosted on your side. Give us access to run the analytics on your side. So it doesn't have to be that we store the data, that it is on our side. It will follow all your protection rules. And we just take the data and optimize it towards the Google campaign metric. So placement ID, Google campaign, campaign creative, and all these sort of things. So we can trace the user journey from a banner basically to the first and last billing.
To kind of build on what Mahmoud's saying, it's a good question. Hey, what if they don't want to share, or they don't know, or you can't share the data? This already exists in some European markets which are more mature. France has number aliases. You don't get the MSISD in. You just know which operator it was, but there's not a way for you to actually know in the click flow what the MSISD was. They don't share this data, but that is enough. You can have anonymization. Like there's not easy. There are technical solutions for all of these things. And as we just said, we are not taking any of your data at all. We're just pointing you in the right direction of, hey, look here, look at this, find this information, and that is how we can help you, help yourselves, basically, to make more revenue from your users.
Give us a random question from your sheets.
Again, a random question. Actually, transition to the Google and all the different dramas that happened last year. Yeah, for sure, we face some new challenges. Impact, of course, every marketing agencies like some agency is. Google, we know that now is unpredictable. We get into a lot of different suspension every day, banners, disapproval, etc., etc. So, also considering that, what do you see as the biggest challenge that still acquiring high-ARPU users with all that Google context?
I think the biggest challenge is educating the clients that acquisition is not only by numbers, it's also looking at the end results that you want to achieve. It's not only getting a database of 1 million subscribers where you have 90% of the database never built. So you want to reach the users that are actually contributing to your, let's say, most preferred KPI, which I hope it is profit for all of you. That said, the challenge is to communicate this. That's not always that when you bid higher, you would get just high CPA with no returns. So you have to be smart. Whether it's Google, whether it's with TikTok, Facebook, push, it's all the same thing. You have to be able to identify the segments that contribute to your bottom line and not be afraid to actually test it and see your data analytics actually reflect that on the reports. So make sure that you have a consistent data tracking from the beginning until the payment sort of section of the user, and that you can trace it back and target it on your traffic sources.
Agreed. Don't have much to add. Yeah.
Should we open the floor for questions? Joe, I see that you are dying to ask something. Anyone? Maybe Aurelien, you can give us another question?
Yeah, let's have a step back.
Step back.
Looking at the next 5 years, what trends of technology you think that will be shaping the engaging more high ARPU users in the, let's say, in the next 5 years? What do you see as a challenge, but also
I mean, if you attended my previous panel about AI and the age of media buying in the age of AI, we are utilizing a lot of AI systems in some media. It is mostly on, or the place that we invest the most on AI is the data analytics and the connections between the touch points that we have across the user journey. But also the generative AI, where we can actually test a bit more campaigns more aggressively and have a bit more creative sort of initiative, where our designers would have to take, I don't know, maybe a full day to take 10 to create 10 data sets. Now we have 200 if we wanted to in a single day. And that is going out for testing with the AI help, with A/B testing and multivariable testing. We can be more aggressive and faster on the optimization and the testing, but also a bit more sort of taking risks on the new creative angles that will in turn optimize the user experience towards our products, and then the billability that is obviously getting the profit at the end.
From my side, AI for content, obviously. I don't think we should be using it necessarily for the basics of marketing don't change. We all know what they are. Your KPIs are your KPIs. They're not going to change. But AI is a very useful tool to gain time and to gain ideas for leveraging creatives for your ads, for leveraging landing pages for your ads, for video generation. And these are all things like AI is definitely clear and present to everybody right now, but we've had it for years. For Facebook, for Google Ads, you can have some basic optimizations done by AI in the algorithm, and also content creation within the platform. You can create ads quickly. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is going to be more and more we see a mix of technologies together which are becoming connected. So TVs were not connected. TVs are being connected now. YouTube ads is something which we have all used. We used to still use. The difference is that, yes, it's expensive, but the benefit is this is someone who might subscribe when they're sitting at home on their phone and with the TV on. An ad comes, and there's always a QR code on the side. So these are these kind of not exactly new technologies, but leveraging what we already have to its best use, basically.
Yeah.
no more question.
I think the bottom line is data is king. Once we are running a campaign, that is the thing that we focus most on. A lot of people are getting stuck with the creative sort of aspect of the whole flow. Eventually, everything can be related back to billing, to profit, and compliancy, basically. Of course, we don't like to talk about that, but everything has to be optimizable with these parameters that within, obviously, the traffic sources that you are using, but anything that you can influence within the traffic source that contribute to the bottom line is something that you need to be able to track and connect it to the marketing. So the whole funnel is clear, and you can optimize accordingly.
Jeroen, I can see you're very, very intensely listening.
To more revenue. I mean, with mobile content, we have you have the iOS, you have the carrier, but how is that placement going to contribute to higher ARPU eventually?
You're right,
It's
it won't.
Data points.
But placements don't. You're right. Absolutely. Placements
Or an
would not.
IP range in that case. Well, it's a carrier, of course.
IP ranges do, in our experience.
Yeah,
actually.
the carrier. I agree, but
So let's say let's take an IP range for example. IP range is an analog for the location of the user. If you can target locations where people live that have high income salaries, most likely you can deduct that these people have money to keep their subscriptions going or the topped up. So it doesn't necessarily increase your performance or increase the acquisition, but it elevates the acquisition that you don't spend on users that eventually don't end up paying on contributing to your bottom line. But you just focus on the segment of the users that do pay. So I'll go back to UAE. Within our services, we do have huge databases, but then when you look at the contribution, the monetary contribution of these users, we find that 80% of the databases have never been built. So yes, there are steps that we can use these users, maybe build them in a different way that is outside of VAS or any sort of other way. But these users are like the message is that they are not contributing to the bottom line. So either you do something or you don't acquire them. With these targetings, you can do the connections, which user database or which user portfolio is making the contributions, and target it more. Then you can afford, or it's not like you can afford to bid more, but then inherently you can say, okay, I can bid more for someone that has
don't tell them everything. They don't need to know everything.
It's fine. It's a.
Don't give them all the secrets.
It's a small group. All our clients are here, so it's
Jeroen,
fine.
if I may summarize or like let's say rephrase your question, and then you correct me if I'm wrong. Your point is that you can have so much data, not all of it is useful. You are, I think, absolutely right. Yes, but what Mahmoud is saying is it's exactly this what we as an agency are good at, because we can help you find the needles in the haystack, which will help you realize this is the reason why it's maybe not working.
Yeah, no, to that part I totally agree. Of course, data is king, and if you can find ways to monetize them in different way, but I mean, from a Google perspective, I mean, yes, you can hyper-target locations, but you're also not going to get any volumes anymore, right? You can do 2 sales, very high ARPU, but I'd rather have like 1,000 sales with a bit less ARPU maybe, or
Completely
a lower
agree.
margin.
Fully agree.
With a higher profit.
Fully agree. There's here another nuance. You're someone who is good at this as well. And you're also someone who is themselves a media buyer. So you know this. There are a lot of people who, in our experience, who are of a certain mindset of, listen, I'm giving you the money, do your job, I want High-ARPU users. You know? And you also know that. And with those people, we have worked, we have done a good job of education, and we are seeing the results of that. That is the point that Mahmoud's making, I am making with my clients. We see this. Giving them this insight on, hey, this is why it is working, this is why it is not working, really helps. Because for a lot of people, we're seeing the idea is just this. Everyone we see outside in the corridors, no one goes into details. It's like, listen, it's a fish market. UA sales, $4, $4, who want? I have $3.50. I can also do that. I prefer not to do that because you need to know what you're buying, and a lot of people don't.
Yeah, and let's say also that as a pure B2B also perspective, that also helps to retain the customers that we have. It's not a matter of just running the companies for 3 weeks or 4 weeks and then just give up. It's also a long term that we are just thinking about that, and to keep our clients running the campaigns for a longer period with us. That's also very important as a B2B perspective.
In every country, we don't need more volumes. Like country like UAE or some European countries, if we get a 50, 60 volume with a margin of $10, $15 difference, that can make a huge difference in the profit. Maybe it's like Android users, which is a low ARPU users, we're bringing more volume, but the lesser CPA. But in the end of the day, so if you prefer for like less volume with a higher profit margin, then that would be the best scenario.
It's a question of balance. Here we have another question here.
Thank you. As I know, Sam Media is coming from both sides of the business, like they have the content services as well as the media agency as well. So from your experience, so bringing a high ARPU customers compared to general CPA customers, is it impacting your usage as well, the content usage as well?
It's a very good question.
You mean the consumption of the service?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's a very good question. Depends on the service. Yes, actually. I'm someone who is quite open-minded and also direct. Usually, I would have expected the answer to be no. But if the service actually has real value, we do see people using it. Yeah, and definitely we have people who repetitively want to go and either play this game or watch this or rewatch these highlights, for example. Depends on the service, obviously. But yeah, it does actually make a difference.
I'll answer it with a sort of historical sort of reference. When VAS first started with ringtones and all of these things, people were actually getting something out of the content, and that's what was called value-added service. Along the line, somewhere the content kind of fell somewhere. Nobody could find it. But now you see with more targeted and specialized sort of media acquisition, and you see the past 3 years with all of the Google media buying that is happening, it is an opportunity for CPs like Sam Media and yourself to create better quality services for the reason of optimizing and monetizing the service itself. What I mean is that you want to push the user to go into the service, have activity on the service in order to buy more in the service. So think about it as a top level sort of example, a portal where you have a bundle that you have, let's say 500 videos, but there are also free or premium videos that later on you can buy a one-off payment, one-off premium subscription. You have different tier of the subscription. So the marketing starts to become a bit more mature, and you can optimize the user journeys according to your needs on the service, and they will have the sort of the push to actually get users to the portal because they can go to the portal and spend more inside of the portal. So this is something that I feel that VAS or the mobile content in general is maturing towards, because we have now more data analytics capabilities and more, I would say, willingness and some pressure from from the gateways and carriers to actually provide something that is a bit better.
Thank you.
Any other questions here?
Chris?
On your side?
Question in the back.
What will happen when you'll be able to crack the high ARPU code? This is what you are looking for.
Exactly.
Does it mean what will be the impact on the acquisition? There will be a high demand. Will the cost be increasing drastically, or it will remain as we know it now? Like you were mentioning AE, we have $3.5, $4, 4.5. You look for iOS at $6, $7. Maybe when you crack it very well, I don't know, we'll have to pay $20. The bid will increase and there will be a high demand. Do we have any like analysis on how it will be?
That is actually a perfect question, because if you look at the marketing sort of ecosystem now, everyone is doing Google. Everyone is rushing for Google because all the compliancy, all of the gateways, the carriers, they were just like, oh no, so just send me Google traffic. And we thought that Google is going to be going insane for mobile content, but we forget something, that it's not only us in the marketing ecosystem. There are companies, there are industries that spend our yearly budget in 2 days. So the marketing that we are doing, cracking the high ARPU users, are only going to be coming with benefits to us, that we don't waste money targeting users that are not contributing to our bottom line. But I think the shift is not necessarily how much you spend in order to acquire an active database. It's just like you're going to be spending it for actually getting a user that will spend or pay, and not databases that are inflated with just, I don't want to say useless users, but then non-billable users throughout their life journey in your product. And that is going to come to play once we have let's say, more expensive products that we have usage bills that we need to actually fulfill, and then the users that actually use the products will be having to be paid users, like let's say Netflix, right? So yes, it's a valid question. I think eventually, same as we thought that there's going to be bidding wars between the clients that are going to be rushing to Google, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.